Welcome into Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. I hope all of you are having fantastic Thursdays wherever you may be across this country or across this great land. We got a lot to get to. Going to dive in a hurry here. The coronavirus update. 10 million unemployed in 2 weeks, something we've never seen before, truly, in the history of this country. Derrick Henry signs his franchise tender offer. What does it mean? The Pats team plane snags 1.2 million masks in China. Props to Robert Kraft and company for that happy ending. And Tom Brady is living in Derek Jeter's 30,000 square foot mansion. But we begin with the daily coronavirus update. And I understand there are lots of people out there who live in a negative universe and they only want to share negativity. I'm here to tell you that we are going to kick coronavirus's ass and that we are moving in a very positive direction. Several different things of a positive direction have happened. Let me tell you exactly what they are. First, for a 12th straight day, Italy has posted lower numbers of new daily infecteds than they did 12 days ago. If you look at the chart, Italy has further established that it is on the backside of the chart and that things are moving in a good direction for Italy. The same thing is also true for Spain and for Germany, both of which those countries have posted declining new daily infections for 6 days. People say, why do you focus on new daily declining infections? Okay, why do you focus on that? Because deaths trail typically new daily infections. That is, your death rate is going to decline when you begin to post fewer new daily infections because the death rate is a function of how many people are sick. And so, why does this matter? Europe is now beating the coronavirus. The same thing has already happened in Asia. The same thing is going to happen in the United States of America. That is where we are headed. That is why I share information surrounding Spain, Germany, and Italy. Okay? This is a direction that we're going to follow. Now, people are saying, well, they did X, Y, or Z, and we can't. No. We are faster in responding to our coronavirus crisis than Italy has been, than Spain has been, than Germany. Germany did a really good job, I think, in general. That's why I think they're the best country to compare us to. So, I believe that in short order, what day exactly, I don't know, because partly it's a function of how many different tests we're going to do and when all the test results are coming in and everything else. But what I would encourage you to check out is the thermometers, right? I started following this company. If you want to actually get some good information, go follow this company that I just started following. It is absolutely fantastic to see. I think you will learn a ton by being able to follow this company. Let me tell you their name again, Kinsa. Kenza Thermometers. They have 1 million people across the United States using their thermometers. And if you go check it out, you will be impressed at the degree to which overall fevers are down in the United States. Now, infection is a function of 5, 7, 10, 14 days ago. You can end up getting infected and it cannot show up for a while. The Kinsa Thermometer company, they take temperatures. It is actually better. Kinsa. You can follow them on Twitter. You can go look at real-time data all over the country. You can even go into the county that you live in and look and see what the temperature traits are for your county. I live in Davidson County, Williamson County, the Nashville area. I can go in and check it out. It's pretty phenomenal. All you have to do is follow them on Twitter, go in, and you can look at the entire nation and see that we're actually trending below what is typically happening, okay? If you go check it out, you will be impressed. No, they don't pay me any money, they ought to. You will be impressed with the data that you can get there in real time about who is sick. It's pretty fantastic to check out. Again, that website, Kinsa, the company, Kinsa. You are going to be able to check it out. It is pretty fantastic, all right? So, all of that is moving in the direction of everything being better, despite, as it was said a long time ago, the nattering nabobs of negativity. Things are moving in a positive direction. We will soon plateau in terms of total new daily tests, and then we will begin a decline throughout much of April. I believe by the time we get to May, things are going to be looking really, really good. In fact, I think it's going to happen before then. Okay? So if I am looking in here and I happen to look over and people are sharing fear porn, then I am going to block you. You don't deserve to talk to my audience because I don't think you are in any way helpful with what is actually occurring. So look at the data. Go follow real-time data if you would like. Look at Europe, where the outbreaks are actually in front of us, and you can tell where we are headed. I don't understand the negativity, as I've said for a long time. We know how this is going to end, right? It ends with us kicking the coronavirus's ass. That's the end, right? The question is just, how long is that going to take? And I believe the answer is not that long. I want to give a shout out to Pitt, the University of Pitt, and they are one of many different schools and entities that are working on a vaccine. Pitt believes they have got a vaccine that could work against the coronavirus. I think this is all very encouraging, and my hope is that Pitt, biggest win, sorry West Virginia Mountaineer fans for bringing this up, biggest win for Pitt since they went on the road and beat an undefeated Pitt West Virginia team and knocked them out of the BCS. Is that cruel? Is that unnecessary punishment that I would have to take a shot at West Virginia that way? When I think of Pitt, the first thing I think about is when they went on the road and they beat Rich Rod and West Virginia, and a game that they were like a 20-point underdog. I think that was Dave Wanstead's Pitt team going up against Rich Rod's West Virginia team. I'm sorry if you're a big West Virginia fan and you just tuned in here and you were like, man, I want to hear some positivity from Clay Travis about the coronavirus. I want to be able to get updated about what's going on, maybe a little talk about the NFL, and then boom, I just came off the top rope, flying elbow style, Macho Man on you. I apologize. You weren't ready for it. You didn't deserve it. But that's what I think about when I hear about Pitt. So, I got to say for Pitt, all right, when you look at Pitt, this is a big deal, but there are lots of different places that are also trying to come up with their own vaccines. It's a big deal not necessarily for this spring, but it's a big deal for the fall in November and December when theoretically flu season would ramp up again, and the expectation is this virus would start circling anew. Theoretically, we can go ahead and wipe it out by then. So that is the hope that we're going to be able to take care of that. Got tough news on the other front today. 10 million now in 2 weeks unemployed. Now, I understand people out there who say all I care about is health-related conditions. I consider the economy to be a health-related condition. The book, The Big Short by Michael Lewis, said that for every 1% rise in the unemployment rate, that 40,000 people die. That was the statistic they cited. It's also in the movie. As the economy goes down, health in this country takes a hit as well. And we're defining health right now entirely based on the coronavirus, and there are lots of complexities associated with this. But what ends up happening when 10 million people lose their job, when 20 million people lose their job, when 30 million people lose their job, when maybe 40 million people lose their job? Talk a lot about exponential growth when it comes to the coronavirus. Millions of more people are going to be impacted. Tens of millions of more people are going to be impacted by lost jobs. When that happens, the people who lose their jobs tend to be the people who can least afford to lose their jobs. And as a result, depression rates go up, suicide rates go up, crime rates go up as unemployment rises. The ability of parents to take care of their children declines. The overall quality of lodging, of all different sorts of larger contexts societally become majorly impactful. Even things like overall parenting quality. When parents are stressed and when they are economically fragile, they are more likely to lash out at their children and not spend the time that they ordinarily would to take care of them because they're stressed and their anxiety is at a high level, which also ends up increasing the anxiety on children. All of these things are massively important, okay? And so when you balance, I believe, when you balance a public health response, you need to be able to balance it with the economic realities of a situation. And All of that needs to be put into an analysis so we can come up with the best public policy. I think it is incredibly difficult to come up with an ideal public policy when we still lack basic data about this virus. We don't know what percentage of people, and sadly, some of the people out there who are even governors don't realize it. We don't know what percentage of people. Did you see the governor of Georgia who somehow didn't realize that you could be infected and not realize that you were infected? What has this guy been doing for the past 2 months? Has he read anything? Does he have any advisors? Did he just misspeak? We need to know what percentage of people are asymptomatic but carrying this disease. We need to know also what percentage of people out there have already had the disease and have antibodies inside of their blood. All of these are significant factors that allow us to better analyze the overall public policy concerns as we break down this report, right? So this is significant, and if we don't know all that information, it makes it very hard to make good public policy decisions. This is why I've been arguing for more randomized testing and why I talked about the NBA and the denominator problem that we have associated with this, but we need to know who else has had it. All of these things are massively important, but I want you to know that we need to be thoughtful, not just of people who are potentially going to get ill, which is going to be a small minority of the overall population in the country. We need to be thinking about the tens of millions of people whose lives are going to be fundamentally altered by losing their jobs. This is a major, major challenge of a public policy perspective for the nation. I know the $2 trillion stimulus bill is a part of that, but at some point, and this is going to be the challenge, we have to go from telling everybody to stay in their house to re-engaging as a major as the biggest economy on the world stage. How do we manage to do that? That's going to be a challenge to balance in general. But at some point soon, we do have to go back to work, which is why we got to kick the coronavirus's ass in an expeditious fashion as best we can. I want to give a shout out to Robert Kraft and the New England Patriots. I know that a lot of people out there hate the Patriots. They're like the Yankees. They're like the Lakers, the Celtics, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Teams that are well known create a huge group of haters. All right, that's just a massive part of the overall story. But the Patriots used their team plane to fly to China, and they managed to be on the ground for only 2 hours and 57 minutes. They didn't have to deal with any sort of larger issues associated with the quarantine, because right now when you come into China, ironically enough, even though China complained because we stopped flights to China, China now says when you come to China, they require you to quarantine for 2 weeks. So China complained when we cut down on the flights from China to America back in January, and we got accused of being racist and all these other things for making that decision. Now China is doing it to us, and nobody talks about it at all, right? And I got a lot of things to say about China. I said a lot about them yesterday. I'd encourage you to go look it out. But the Chinese deserve substantial punishment from the rest of the world for the way they have responded to the coronavirus crisis. But I got to give a shout out to Robert Kraft and the New England Patriots. 2 hours, 57 minutes on the ground, according to the Wall Street Journal. They got 1.2 million masks onto their plane, these N95, I think they're called, the masks, then flew all the way back to the United States, gave 900,000 to the Massachusetts hospitals, and then they gave 300,000 to New York City. Props to the New England Patriots for getting that done, for spending millions of dollars, Robert Kraft in particular, and bringing back those masks in a public health policy perspective. A good move. Congratulations for that move in general. All right? I appreciate everything that they are doing. I think it makes a lot of sense. A couple more things that I got to hit here. Derrick Henry has signed his tender offer. And this is a big deal. He's not going to hold out. We're not going to end up with a Melvin Gordon or a Le'Veon Bell situation. He has already signed, Derrick Henry has, his $10.4 million tender offer. Reports are the Titans in the summer are going to work on a long-range extension for Derrick Henry. It's a big deal because it means that Derrick Henry is going to be at the facility when football comes back roaring and ready to roll, which I believe will be this fall. I think we're going to have all the NFL and all of college football. This is going to be a big deal, again, because it takes the Melvin Gordon situation off the table, because it takes the Le'Veon Bell situation off the table. Derrick Henry is going to be with the Titans for this season, and he's going to be with them throughout the offseason conditioning as that begins. So that is a big deal. Titans maybe can turn their focus to Jadeveon Clowney now if they can get a good deal worked out with Derrick Henry. Finally, I still can't get my hands around the fact that Tom Brady is going to be a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But as if Tom Brady didn't already have a good enough life, he is now moving into a 30,000 square foot home of Derek Jeter in the Florida area, which is just wild to think about. That Derek Jeter, when he was single, before he was even married, built a 30,000 square foot mansion just for himself. We're not talking about a house that was built for Phillip Rivers and his 9 kids. We're not talking about somebody who has a massive family that they all roll in to live there. That is an incredible story that they managed to get that done. Derek Jeter, 30,000 square foot compound in the Tampa area. And now, remember, they went out to dinner. Derek Jeter, Bill Gates, and Tom Brady. Now, Tom Brady is going to be living in Derek Jeter's big place. I love everything about Brady to the Bucs. I'm nervous that the Titans are going to be looking back at this and saying, I can't believe we passed on the opportunity to get Tom Brady and instead went and gave Ryan Tannehill $90 million guaranteed. This is going to be really interesting to see what happens in the NFC South. I love everything about the talent on the offensive side of the ball for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they are going to be fantastic this year with Tom Brady. I think Brady's going to have his best receiving core he's ever had in his career. And I believe the Bucs are a legitimate force to potentially win the NFC South, which is crazy to say because they haven't been in the playoffs in 12 years. Brady, good shot at being an incredible bounce-back season. I like everything about this move. I don't think that the Panthers are going to be very good with Teddy Bridgewater. We'll see how they do. Maybe they'll be a 7-9, 6-10, 8-8 type team. I just think they traded away a lot of their talent, and I'm not sold on them. I think Atlanta will bounce back in a big way. And I also believe, obviously, that the New Orleans Saints are still the class of that division and should be favored. But I would put the Bucs at number 2 overall, the Falcons at 3, and the Panthers at 4. It's a really, really good division. All right, love all of you. My name is Clay Travis. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. I will be talking about this tomorrow, talking all about Tua Tagovailoa, what's going to happen with him. You can listen to us on the Outkick the Coverage radio program. I appreciate all of you. Biggest month podcast-wise in the history of the show in March. We haven't had a single sporting event since March 11th. You guys downloaded the podcast by such massive numbers that we set a new all-time record for Outkick the Coverage. Also, this show has set an all-time record in March as well. Even without sports going on, you guys have come and you have hung out and you have listened. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you tomorrow. DBAP, unless you need to SBAP. I'm Clay Travis. Remember, we're going to kick coronavirus's ass. Things are going to get better and continue to get better. Just believe in that. I love you. See y'all. Bye. Love you. Thank you, Facebook. See y'all.